The Magic of the Snowy Owl, a PBS Nature Series documentary played to a sold-out audience at White Memorial in Litchfield, Connecticut. The program, the first to kick off White Memorial's 100th year anniversary, featured a very special winged guest.
He's a 5-year-old male snowy owl. He's still young relative to the bird's ages, so he's still got a lot of the black speckling on his breast. That will gradually disappear, and in a few years he will truly probably be snow white. But one of the things that always fascinated me about these particular birds are the feet. You know, those feet with an incredibly dense feathering. They're one of the very few birds of prey that have such dense feathering on their feet, and of course its protection. It looks like hair and it feels like hair, but it is feathers, and it of course protects their feet against snow and the ice and the incredible temperatures that they have to live in.
How long do they live, Brian?
In general terms, especially with birds of prey, the larger the bird, the longer they live. I've heard of snowies living into their 20s and 30s in captivity. They vary 4 to 6 pounds, 6.5 pounds. And keep in mind, he's a male, which means he's naturally smallish. Females are always larger and more powerful. And 4 pounds doesn't sound like much until you stand in this position for a while. It feels like a cinder block on my hand after a while.
In the film, it mentioned that the mother could barely see her chicks
Yeah.
because she was so far-sighted.
Yeah.
Do you have any sense of what he can see here?
They're basically blind from about a foot in. They don't see things very well. And actually, quite often when they reach down to take a bite of food, they close their eyes anyway. They naturally want to protect their eyes from being scratched or injured when struggling with prey. Head on either side, basically where ours are, but they're buried in all those feathers. And they actually point in slightly different directions. One points slightly upward in a way, and one points slightly downward in a way, so that they're asymmetrical for catching sound. So when a sound from a rodent, whether it's running around in the grass and the leaves or even tunneling under the snow, a muffled little sound like that travels up and reaches the owl. All of those little feathers can direct or funnel that sound into his ears, kind of like one of those parabolic mics that you'll see on the football sidelines, a big plastic cone where they point it in a direction. Any incoming sound hits that cone, goes into the microphone. Well, any incoming sound to this bird's face hits the face, gets ricocheted right into those ears, and depending upon which ear it hits first, he can pinpoint what direction it's coming from and better able to fly down and catch that prey. And a lot of the rodents that they're chasing, the lemmings and so forth, they're tunneling under the snow. They can't see them. So even in broad daylight, they have to rely on sound, much more than many other owls. So they're flying above that snow, and they can hear that rodent tunneling under the snow, punch their feet through, and pull it right out without ever seeing it.